Hi, everybody, and welcome to episode 5 of the Together We Grow podcast. This is the podcast where we help our audience grow their home fragrance business. And this is based on all of our years of experience in growing our own home fragrance company and then recently selling it. We're giving away all the information we have.
Giving away all those golden nuggets.
My name's Paul Main, and I'm here with Tamer.
Hi, everybody.
And today we're going to talk about subscription boxes and why you need to have one, the importance of them, and how to grow your members. So let's get into it, shall we?
Let's do it. When we first started Cozy Aromas, which was Cozy Candles back then, wasn't it? We decided that we were only going to run a subscription box. And we thought that, it's a good way of getting recurring revenue. And that was all we were ever planning to do as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Obviously, with my, at the time, working in a marketing agency, helping lots of clients and very involved in the business scene, especially local here around Suffolk, and doing a lot of research online, which I typically do, it's obvious that recurring revenue is the stress buster of business. You want to wake up on the first of the month and ideally have all of your expenses for that month paid for already.
It's an amazing feeling getting to that as well, isn't it?
And that was the reason why we started a subscription box.
Yep.
Because we wanted that recurring revenue. Obviously, that if you've listened to our podcast previously or know our journey, then you'll know that we actually changed that. And we had we soon opened an online store, and that just worked really well actually for getting people together. But that's the main reason why you need a subscription box is for that recurring revenue, which is so important.
It really is. It's just, like you say, it's a stress buster. It takes away that worry, knowing pretty much roughly what you're going to have to start the month. Yeah. It made a massive difference. Would wake up on the morning, on the first, look at the phone and be like, phew. Yeah. It does make a huge difference.
Yeah, it does. But also, equally, you know how many members you've got, roughly, if you're as addicted to numbers as I was. So it doesn't matter whatever revenue you had on the first of the month. If that was below what it should be based on the number of subscribers, then you know that a load of missed payments have happened. And that always used to put me in a bad mood, didn't it?
It did,
I was thinking, why aren't these people renewing? It could be because they need to update their card. It could be because they've just cancelled their direct debit, which happens as well.
Yeah.
But that was annoying, wasn't it?
It was annoying, yeah. And then sometimes you could get into a bad mood with it, and then it's hard to get you sort of out of it sometimes. Overall, the majority of the time, the numbers were really good.
Yeah, well, it sort of started off very slow, and we had special offers like, I think our first box.
Box just pay postage, we did.
Just pay postage, and this was back in 2018. We got a couple of hundred members quickly.
We did.
But the churn rate was through the roof. And
they weren't good quality leads, were they?
No, the churn rate is the percentage of people that drop out within a given month. And because it was such a cheap item, they just sign up to a quickly cancel the direct debit so they won't charge for it again. So, and we did a few offers like that. And even more in recent years, we used to do your first month for £1.
Yeah.
We used to advertise that, and we used to get hundreds of members join. But then you'd get hundreds of members leave at the end of the month because
you can see that as well, can't you? Because we use Shopify. You could look on Shopify and click on that customer and say, they got the £1 box, but now the payment has failed.
Yeah.
So,
and that sort of thing happens all the time. So when you're growing one of these, I think in hindsight, you want to go for those quality ones.
Yeah, quality over quantity.
So therefore, you don't want to have these crazy deals, your first box for free and all that kind of stuff, because unless you've got loads of money you want to invest in it, because you're going to get a huge churn rate. Yes, you will get members and you'll have lifelong members from doing it, but you've got to have the margin there and you've got to have cash flow to bankroll that because it's expensive. So what I would suggest moving forward, and if I had our time again, I'd do it organically.
Yeah, organic is best, I think.
And that's what we
had.
Harder. Yeah, and that's what we had through 2019, 2020 and 21. We were very organic.
Yeah.
And we set up email flows. So that was the easy way of doing it. Is we had a wonderful offer on our website, which was just a pack of wax melts, buy one, get one free. I talk about no-brainer offers all the time.
Yep.
That was our no-brainer offer to get new customers in. When you've got a new customer, you then nurture them through an email sequence. and through your Facebook group to then buy something else and then buy something else. And then they really love it. And then ultimately, the goal is to get them to sign up to your monthly subscription box. And that process works so well for us.
It did. And you'll also find that if you implement something like smile.io, where you've got your loyalty points and things like that, you can also get them to refer friends as well, because they'll get a percentage off. The friend could get a percentage off. And that worked really well for us. People loved the product anyway. They were talking about it to their friends, so they might as well get a little bit of a discount out of it as well.
Yeah, definitely. And it's also where your Facebook group comes into its own, because they sell for you.
They really do. It's incredible.
You have the members who put pictures up of what they've had received that month in their subscription box. And you've got that FOMO, haven't you? It's that fear of missing out. So other people sign up. They're like, oh my God, I really want that. And then they sign up for it. It's just like a really nice snowball that just builds up and up.
We did ours a little bit differently, didn't we? We kind of turned ours into a secret subscription box, didn't we?
Yeah.
So that people weren't supposed to post the names until we put them out for general release.
That's right.
Because our subscribers would get them early at a discounted rate, not have to pay postage, and then they'd get to enjoy them. They'd post about them and say how much they loved them. But if they didn't give away the scent names, it really built that excitement and that hype naturally and organically. And customers were really intrigued by it. And if you've got customers that know each other really well, they'll be like, oh, you'll definitely love the green one, or you'll definitely love the blue one, something like that. And it really builds up that excitement. So when we did launch them on general sale, they did really, really well.
Exactly, yeah. So I think what we should do now is just break this down a little bit. First of all, I'm going to talk about the numbers.
Yeah.
The revenues.
Numbers are very important.
The revenues and all that kind of stuff. Then we'll talk about the subscription box itself and what we did and how it worked, because Tamer said some stuff there, like releasing them for general sale, which you might not really understand unless you knew what our subscription was all about. So we'll talk about that as well. And then we'll talk about how to grow.
Yeah, that's
But I think before we do all of that, we've got a new little segment, haven't we, which we're going to do?
We have.
Well, we've got two new little segments. First one.
We're ever evolving here.
First one is we're going to do a member shout out.
Yeah.
So we're going to try and do this each week now. So in our Home Fragrance Academy community on Facebook.
If you're not a member, make sure you join.
Come on, join. And one of our paid HFA members has a little win this week. So you're going to talk about that, aren't you?
Yeah. So Christina, who owns a bubbly scent, has had a really great month. She said, I've hit my goal for this month. I had such a slow start to the month and out of nowhere, boom, in orders. At one point, I was nervous I wasn't going to hit it as we're a few days away from the end of the month. So we've been there and it's scary when you're getting towards the end of the month. So congratulations, Christina. That's a fantastic news.
Yeah, well done. That is brilliant. And it goes to show you, I think, as well, is that time of year we're getting to. Now, this is the time of year you think towards the end of September, winter. Which is where what Christina's referring to there, the weather completely turned, much colder, much more like autumn.
And it's raining a lot more.
And we're now in Q3. We're recording this on the 2nd of October.
Yep.
No, sorry, Q4.
Yep.
Which is now crazy season. This is where people are going to be buying. So
this is home fragrance season.
Home fragrance season. This is where you are going to be making some sales. Come and join our Home Fragrance Academy Growth Hub through our website, homefragrance.academy. And within there's trainings on how you can really maximize Q4. And this is actually a blueprint that we followed, that we created, and therefore followed on subsequent years for our businesses.
Yep.
And it works well. £500,000 we generated in Q4, typically.
We did.
Which is really good.
It is pretty good.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about the numbers of subscription boxes. And so our subscription box was priced at $17.99, and for that, people got 4 100-gram wax mounts delivered each month, and that included postage as well. That's $17.99.
That $17.99 was flat rate.
And I think if they bought that through the website, individual wax mounts plus postage worked out about 28 quid, something like that. So they saved some money there straight away. But more importantly, those wax mounts that they received was a complete surprise. Each month we had a theme, didn't we?
We did, and they were all brand new fragrances as well.
All brand new fragrances that I've never had from us before. So that's where you get the excitement from. And so it's $17.99 a month. And including postage as well, it was about a 50% profit margin in there. So which is pretty good. Because this subscription box is all about volume.
Yeah.
typically on your products, you want to have a 75% margin, but of course, then people pay postage on top of that. 75 to 80% margin. People will pay postage on top of that. So all inclusive, this was 50% margin. We were so in other words, 100% markup, and it works really well for us.
It did.
At our peak, we had 1,500 members, and this was when it was only you, myself, and 3 or 4 people in our first proper unit.
Yeah.
And
3 other people.
3 other people. Yeah. So on the first of the month, we had about 25, maybe £26,000 into our bank. And these used to always renew in the early hours on the first of the month. So when you woke up in the morning, straight away, about £25,000 worth of sales there. And 12,500 of that is profit.
Yep.
That 12,500 paid for our rent at the time and our rates, because that was so tiny on that little.
We didn't have rates.
And we didn't have rates.
No.
And it also paid for our staff. So you basically covered your main expenses on the first of the month.
And that's what I mean when I said earlier that it's like a relief that when you get that money come through and you're able to pay all your bills, it's just takes a massive stress off of you.
Yeah, it's amazing. It was that it really is, because then everything that you do throughout the rest of the month is profit. And that allows you, which is what we did, is to reinvest in the business. So we would spend more on ads, we'd introduce new products.
Yep.
That allowed us to develop our brand new unit, or our new business unit that we moved into. It allowed us to open a shop down in Felixstowe. That's what you would do. So if you're listening to this, I would highly recommend thinking about, work out all of the calculations on how much revenue you would need to take on the first of the month to cover all your expenses for the month, all your overheads. Not your expenses as in your supplies and stuff like that, but your overheads, salaries, rents, rates, utilities, all of that. Work out what that is. Decide how much you're going to charge for a subscription box, or if you've already got one, work out how many members you need to cover that, and then work like crazy to get those. Best thing we ever did.
It definitely was the best thing we ever did. And like I said earlier, that we actually only started off as a subscription box as well. So we hadn't had any plans to change away from that. So that was always going to be like our main bread and butter kind of thing, wasn't it?
Well, that just covered everything, didn't it?
It did.
And then for the rest of the month, you're getting your normal sales throughout each day. Plus, you'd have campaigns, new releases, all of that. So you'd have spikes throughout the month as well.
Yeah. And because we had the money from the profit to be able to reinvest into advertising and new products, we could get the attention of new customers and then slowly convert them into returning customers, nurture them, and then hopefully get them converted into a subscription box member as well. So the cycle just hopefully keep going and going and going.
Yeah, it did. And once you've got that machine working, it just works and works and works. You ain't really got to do anything to tweak it.
It's essentially like putting a funnel at the top and just investing and putting more people in, isn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah. As long as you're doing a good job, you're delivering on time, and you've got some wonderful products, then it can work.
Definitely.
However, that being said, that was in 2020, and then it was very hard to grow after that. We dropped members, especially when the war in Ukraine and various other things, the whole cost of living crisis, all of that. A lot of people did leave at that point because obviously they want to be careful of their money.
Yeah, because our products are not a luxury. They're a luxury product. They're not a necessity, were they? Yeah. So they're the first thing that do go when people are struggling.
That's it. That's true. That's very true. If there's a worldwide money crisis going on,
you're not going to be buying wax melts, are you?
Luxury products are going to be the first to go, which is the industry that we are in.
It certainly is.
So you have to deal with that, and that is hard. That is hard. But equally, that's why we're very thankful that we did have a subscription box, because, yes, the money that we received on the first of the month went down slightly, not crazy, probably about 15-20%, but we still had a nice income on the first of the month.
Yeah, but if we didn't have that, what position would we have been in?
Yeah, we don't really want to start the month on zero. So when you go into work on the first of the month, right, I need to get some sales now, and every sale comes in, it's just a little increment up and up and up towards your goals. If you can get very close to your goals for the month straight away, then
even if you only get especially to start with, because obviously growing it can take a while. Even if you only get 10%, that's still 10% you don't have to find. Yeah. You've already got that. You've then got to focus on the 90%.
Yeah, exactly. The thing is with subscription boxes, and it is harder now than what it was because
Yeah.
there's many more. There's a lot more choice for
Yeah.
people. The thing is, though, you have to give your members a reason to want to be a member. It
Yeah.
can't just be a selection of random wax mounts or random products from your collection, because they can just go and buy the ones that they want
Yeah.
instead. Have it as a surprise items. Whatever you could do, think about different ways you can really make them feel special.
And when you're doing that as well, think about ways to enhance the look of the box. And so you don't want it to be just a normal standard box that everybody else receives their orders in. You want it to be an unboxing experience.
Yeah.
You want it to be special for them to keep coming back
Yeah.
and keep enjoying them because they love the products, obviously, hence why they've already subscribed. But you need to keep them interested. You need to put in extra goodies if you can, work that out. And it's just like I said, making the whole experience interesting, and think about how it's going to look when people take photos and videos and upload them online as well. You want it to look special.
Yeah, you do, absolutely. And I would only recommend introducing a subscription box if you've got a now this is quite subjective, but a good number of customers. And what I mean by that is when you launch your subscription box, you really want to have about 50 people sign up to it straight away
Yeah.
to make it worthwhile. And 50 is the number that we used anyway, because that's typically the amount of boxes you can make from a small tub of fragrance oil, from a couple of bits of wax and stuff like this, so you're not having to spend more on materials than what you're making. So if you feel confident that you can sell, they will get about a roughly 50 members, or whatever that number is for you, you can work it out straight away, then it's worth doing.
Yep. I agree completely.
It was good. We loved it, didn't we?
We did love it, and we loved the excitement of it and seeing how people received them, because you put all this effort and time into planning it, working out what scent you're going to have, what theme you're going to do, all of the design and the marketing, and then you don't actually know what they're going to think of them until they receive them. So it's like they'd be posted out, Royal Mail would collect them, and then 2 days later we'll be like, okay, the first posts are going to start coming in today. What are they going to be like? Are they going to like them? Are they going to enjoy them?
Yeah, exactly. That was a key thing for us. So I guess that leads us on to the next bit, actually, which is what it was we actually sold. So I think, do you want to talk about that a bit?
Do you want to start right from the beginning and how?
I think from the most recent one, the 3 boxes we had.
Yeah. So we introduced 3 different tiers to our subscription box. So the idea of that was that everybody that wanted to subscribe that had a different level of income would be able to. So we had the light box where we had 2 100-gram bars, and every month they got a surprise selection of them, and then that was $11.99. And then we had the classic box, which was 4 100-gram wax melts. And then we had a deluxe box, which was the 400-gram wax melts, and then a different surprise. So it could be a candle, it could be some more wax melts, it could be room sprays.
But all of those items were all surprise, brand new
They were
fragrances
all
as well.
brand new. They were all surprise products.
That was our
And
EP deluxe.
that was our deluxe, and that was $26.99. And every single one of those boxes, you pay a lot less than it's actually worth as well.
Yeah. When we introduced that, because at the time everyone was on the $17.99.
Yeah.
We introduced those 2 other tiers, and we thought that plenty of people would drop down. Not many people, hardly any at all.
But we had quite a few bump up.
That was about 150 people changed from $17.99 classic up to the $26.99 because they really wanted those extra items.
Yeah, we didn't
expect
unreal. That, did we?
Yeah, so that is just a lovely little increase in revenue each month. Yeah, that works well.
And the way we introduced that change was we'd created the product, and that was January, wasn't it? And the first month we had a candle, and it was a purple jar candle, and it was all wrapped up lovely, and that was by itself was worth £20, wasn't it? And Paul did a video, recorded the whole thing, and in the community group, and was like, right, we're going to release it and let you know what you're going to get if you do become a VIP deluxe member, just this 1 month, just so you got an idea of what the box is about, and talked through the whole box and explained it and all of the upgrades and everything that they're going to get. And that was amazing, wasn't it? Because people really loved it.
Some months we would have an extra, they have their 4 normal wax melts that they received part of the box anyway, but then we'd give them another 4 as well.
Yep.
Surprise fragrances, or maybe a couple of carpet fresheners, some room sprays. It worked really well.
It did. And it was proper, really built up the excitement, didn't it?
And because those people buying that are your top customers, the ones that are really invested into your company, they don't churn as much.
No, they don't.
Churn rate on that is so much less.
Yeah.
So it's worth. I think we would, if we started again, we would definitely have tiered system again.
Yeah, straight away from the off.
And have a high one. Have one that is more expensive because people
Yeah.
will surprise you in what they're willing to spend on your stuff.
And if you do it at the beginning of the month, you then also know roughly how much you're going to need to buy and invest. And if you're making wax products anyway, it doesn't matter if you had to buy extra wax because you need to hold the wax anyway to be able to make your other products.
That's it. Yep. It worked well. We loved it. And so, do you want to talk a little bit about how we selected fragrances and what was like the marketing side of it and the leaflet that was in there and stuff?
Yeah, that's true. So when it comes to selecting the fragrances, it would typically be you and me would sit down at home, we'd think about the whole year ahead, because of course we did this in advance, didn't we? We'd write out the whole year and be like, right, what month is what month? And so January would do like a clean and fresh sort of vibe. Yeah, everything was themed. And then in February would do something about love and flowers and things like that, and then would set out a different theme for every single month that we wanted. And then I would email the manufacturers and say, right, these are my themes that I want. Supply me with everything that you can sample wise.
What about people that don't work with manufacturers?
But people that don't work with manufacturers, you can go onto your suppliers' websites, like a Craft HQ, for instance, and look at all of the fragrances by category. So if you want clean and fresh, click on the clean and fresh and read all the descriptions, buy the samples in, and then test them to find out which ones that you wanted. So then from there, we would have all of our samples. We'd do a couple of months at a time. We'd make them up in our wax melts. We'd get testing them and record the tests, find out exactly what we thought of the scent, how strong it was, and anything like that. So your normal kind of testing routine that you would do for products now anyway. And then we would sit down as a team and we'd select out of the whole set of fragrances that we tested, we'd select which ones are going to go into that month's box and why. Because you'd want a variety of types of scents so that you can get as many people as possible involved and enjoying the fragrances. So if you have a range of fragrances, that makes it a bit easier. So then we would select the 4 scents that we wanted. Brilliant, we're happy with that. We'd place our order, and while the oils are being delivered, we would sit down to market it. And what we would do is we would work on a leaflet to start with. And I would sit there and I'd write up a brief and talk about the colours that we wanted and the scent descriptions, because you don't want to use the same scent description as what's on the supplier's website. You want to make sure it's unique so it fits in with your brand, but it also doesn't harm your website at the same time. So because Google can blacklist your website if you are just using copy and paste scent descriptions, because it is duplicated content. So we'd write out the scent descriptions, we'd put in all of the information and do like a little mood board that we wanted, and then we would send that over to our designer. He would then supply us with a few ideas of like themes and everything for the booklet. We'd work backwards and forwards with it until we were happy, and then we would send that off to print. And then as soon as that got delivered, which only takes about 2 days because we used solo press, didn't we? That would get delivered, and we'd start teasing our customers that this is coming, this is the theme. We'd release it, and then we'd start showing behind the scenes clips and photos of actually making the products as well.
So this was basically a booklet that would go into all subscription boxes. So when they open their subscription box, they get delivered. There's a booklet in there that talks about each fragrance that they've received, gives you a little fact about certain things, obviously announces the theme, but also within there as well, we had a couple of other pages based on what the team preferred. We highlighted some other products, but also if there was an upcoming collection. So for example, this month it would be the Halloween collection.
Yeah.
So all VIP boxes for that went out at the beginning of October would have the leaflet booklet that's in there. There would be a page dedicated to advertising the Halloween collection.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that you're utilising that space, because if you've got a few hundred, couple hundred, however many customers receiving this,
and they are top customers, like you said,
make sure that they know about anything that's coming as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that worked really well because we got to share the teasers ahead of time and it's all related to what they're actually going to receive. And it made marketing it a little bit easier because we had the theme and we had the leaflets in house. So it made it a little bit easier to actually advertise.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so put it in a Facebook group so people could see what the theme was. Creating content for your normal social media channels, all that kind of good stuff is what you need to do.
You certainly do.
Sending out emails, all that. So yeah. So then on to the last section then, which is if we had to grow a subscription box, what would we do? So if you are running a online store at the moment and you're just selling your home fragrance products or bath and body, whatever it is, and you're thinking about introducing a subscription box, I'm assuming that you have a healthy level of orders coming in at the moment. You're running a, hasn't got to be crazy, but you're just running a profitable business and it's going okay. And you have a community of customers. That could be your Facebook group, that could be your Facebook page, whatever it is. I would say to them, you're thinking about introducing this. Would you be interested? Gauge their interest, gauge their reaction. Then I would suggest you follow our Product Launch Pro course.
Definitely.
In the Home Fragrance Academy, because that's where we teach you how to actually launch something brand new and how to build an audience and build an email subscriber list that you can then email them once you've launched your new subscription box. Because that will help you sell hopefully hundreds on the first day. That's very important. So make sure you take that course.
And like you said, that's actually exactly what we did.
Yeah. And then I would build an email flow, an email sequence. They're called sequences, flows, those kind of things, automations, whatever they're called. We use Klaviyo for this. And I would create one for new customers. So an email flow is basically a funnel where you're guiding people down a specific route based on actions they have taken. So once they've placed their first order, once they've placed an order, you can then set up an automation to say, is this their first order or not? Yes or no. If it's yes, they go down a different path. Yes, it was their first order. Send them another email the next day introducing yourself, your company, pictures of you, your setup. Be very personal. You want them to really understand that they feel confident where they've bought products from, because everyone has buyer's remorse after you've placed an order, typically. And then a few days later, send them an email asking, letting them know their order's going to arrive soon. Then send them one to say, can you leave us a review? And then over the course of 2 weeks, send them a couple of follow-up emails encouraging them to place a second order. Nothing to do with subscription box at the moment, just get them to place a second order. And then once they place the second order, they'll then go right to the top of this automation again, and then it will say, was this their first order, yes or no? No, it wasn't their first order, it was their second order. So then, now that they've bought from you twice, you'll then do another little flow encouraging them to buy something else, something that complements what they're doing, or complements what they purchased previously. Once they've placed their third order, and this is the key one, once they place their third order, they go to the top of the automation again. Was this their first? No. Was it the second? No. It was their third order. And then a few days later, that's when you can start to introduce things like your loyalty points and then your subscription box.
Yeah.
We found that once people ordered 3 times with us, they were vastly more likely to place a 4th order than what they were if they placed 2 orders to placing 3.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does make sense.
So the difference between people placing 2 and 3 or placing their 3rd order compared to placing their 4th order was greatly improved because at that point they've become a fan of yours. They love the products.
And they're invested in your products enough that they enjoy them enough that they've already placed 3 orders. So they clearly love them.
That's how I'd set that up. We're going to do some proper training on that. We have a course actually on our website that we're working on, which is going to be called Retention Engine. And that's how we retain customers. And that's where we're going to delve into this properly. So, and I'll have it all sort of displayed on screen so you can really see how to build this out. That's going to be very valuable. But that then just works on its own. That works in this background. Your job then is to get new customers to buy something from you.
Yeah.
A no-brainer offer, chuck Facebook ads to it. I refer to it being a no-brainer offer. Basically, it's if you've got really good targeting on Facebook ads, then basically if someone likes this type of product, home fragrance, and they see an advert on there for a home fragrance brand that they've never heard of before, you want them to make them feel stupid if they don't buy your offer.
Yeah, it's a great deal.
It's that good. You're not going to make money on that order, but that's okay because that's why you have this retention set up,
Yeah.
because you're going to encourage them to come back. And this works really well if you know what your average returning customer rate is. At Cozy Aromas, it was 60%. So we knew that 60% of all first-time customers would order again from us.
And we also knew how much their lifetime value was as a customer.
Yeah,
So we could then work out how much we could actually afford to spend on gaining a new customer.
exactly. That's their calculations you want to do. So I think for Cozy it was about 150 to 175. So so every single customer that came in, on average, they would spend, let's say, £175 with us.
Obviously, that's the average. We'd have people that spend a lot less and people that spend a lot more as well.
Yeah, so that's the average. Yeah. So every single customer, on average, would spend £175. This means that you could happily spend 30, 40, maybe even £50 to acquire a customer on Facebook ads, because you know on average you're going to get £175 back. Of course, to do that, you need to be able to afford that from a cash flow point of view. So that's where you just need to be mindful of that. But never try and make money, never try and make a profit from the very first sale.
No.
And don't let that hamper your campaign and your growth, because that's what I did in the early days. Was really, oh my God, our campaigns are not really generating that much profit. But then when you really look at the numbers and you set up this retention engine strategy, then you can see actually, even though you're not profitable on the front end, these people end up spending quite a lot with you.
It's about the long game.
And therefore, actually generate some very healthy profit in the long run. So that's what I do. So I would set up this email flow and then work hard on getting new customers in for all your marketing efforts. And then through this email flow, encourage them to place repeat orders and then hit them with a subscription box. Don't try and sell people that have never heard from you a subscription box, because they will not sign up.
No.
We've tried it. They do not sign up. It's going to be loyal customers. So that's why it will grow quite slowly. But you know that the customers you are getting in, the members that you are getting to your subscription box,
Higher quality leads.
higher quality, and therefore will stay around a lot longer. That's why I say make sure you launch. Be confident that you can get at least 50 members when you first launch, because then at least you're doing it for a reason. You can see you've got some good money coming in. You can see it's working. That's a nice pool of customers to get feedback from. Those people will be your highest spending customers anyway, so they'll give you honest feedback. Yeah, that's what I do. What would you do?
What would I do?
Same thing?
Same thing. One question I've got done is, when you've set up the email flow like that, would you regularly go back and check to make sure it's all healthy and everything is working? And how often would you do that?
I'd do that once a month.
Yeah.
The key metrics on email campaigns is open rate and click rate. They're really the ones that you want to focus on.
Yeah.
If you can have an open rate of 30%, that's pretty good. And then a click rate of anything above 1% is pretty damn good as well, actually. And then you can look through all of the campaigns that you're sending out automatically and see what's working. Basically, if you've got one that's the click-through rate is a lot less than where the others are, go into it and maybe move the call to action button further to the top and then test that. Then you want to constantly be tweaking these things. It's never going to be finished.
Be part of your monthly routine as part of your admin role.
Exactly. Change the images as well. Just keep doing stuff to I always talk about data and analytics and stuff because it's so important. You can't do these things blind. So yeah, look at your numbers.
Very important.
Yeah. That was good, wasn't it?
That was
I think
good.
we gained some little tidbits there on.
Yeah, gave out a few nuggets here and there.
Yeah.